Good evening, good people. Welcome to Talk Tuesday, a series that is dedicated to empowering our youth and families. This series is brought to you by Steps Foundation, Inc., where advocacy meets education for the betterment of young minds. Each month, we explore meaningful topics designed to inspire growth, spark creativity, and equip our listeners with the tools they need to thrive. I'm Abigail Ellis, the Executive Director here at Steps Foundation, Inc. And this month, we are diving into a topic that every person faces at some point in life, but few really talk about it openly, and that's rejection. Whether it's a relationship that didn't work out, not making the team, being turned down for an opportunity, or feeling left out, rejection hurts. But what if we could see it not as a reflection of our worth, but as a moment to grow, a moment for us to reflect and build resilience? Rejection doesn't have to stop us, but it can shape us. It can point us in a new direction, strengthen our self worth, and remind us that our values is not defined by who says no to us, but how we say yes to ourselves. This February, we're leaning in on how to face rejection with courage, protect our peace, and turn every closed door into a step towards a better one. Whether you're a teen, a parent, or just figuring it out, you are not your setbacks. You're your strength, your bounce back, your next bold step. Let's get into it because your comeback story starts here tonight. So I'm going to pass it over to Anastasia to start our question.
Hello. So, but for my first question, what is the difference between self-worth and self-esteem? Sorry.
Can I just start with I love seeing Smitty's face because Smitty's like, we really gonna start with the hard stuff, huh? I see you, Smith. I saw that face, but I'll be quiet though.
I mean, we just jumped right into it. We ain't even gonna try to like easy pull a band-aid off. We just ripping that thing off. That's a great, phenomenal question because it's easy. I think I can see where it can get convoluted. I think I'll like try to explain it the best that I can. I think self-esteem um, is the internal spirit that every human has, and they're not the same, right? I think that's why you have introverts and you have extroverts. You have leaders, you have followers, you have doers, you have sayers, right? So I think that esteem is the internal energy that the individual has. The self worth, I think it's an attitude of 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 where I stand, if that makes sense. Right. So like if I say my worth is $1 million compared to my worth as if I have a master's, right? Then what am I basing my worth on? Is it the financial part or is the knowledge part? Right. So I think the two things are a little bit different. It's about the internal person, but I think it's where it is. So the esteem for me is the internal energy that one has to persevere. The self-worth is where you placing your priorities that constitute who you are, the principles that you stand on.
Look, and with that, I agree. Um, Look, you did that. You did that. That's a great way to open up. Look, for me, the difference between self-esteem and self-worth is similar to what Smitty said, is self-worth is how you value yourself, right? But self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. Those are two different things. Self-esteem is how you see yourself in that moment, in this current moment, and how you take everything that's happened to you throughout all these years and all your experience throughout life, and how you see that as yourself and as a person. Self-worth is how much you value yourself, your feelings, your priorities, your boundaries, your emotions, your health. And those are two very important things to be up on. Those are the differences for me.
I like that. I like that. I like how you, Smitty, said how it comes with value, like you having to have value with yourself for the self-esteem and self-worth part, how they come together. And I agree with that. I do also believe that with self-esteem, it's changeable. It can fluctuate, but your self-worth is stagnant. It's going to be who you are. It's going to be unconditionally you or authentically you. Um, and that comes with a lot of lessons and changes. But I agree, those were both great parts.
I think for me, I look at it as conditional versus unconditional. Because I think when we think about like our self-esteem typically comes with a condition. Like you make it conditional because that is you pleasing the outside world. When we think about self-worth, it becomes unconditional because it is about us internally and how we view things. So look, y'all all was pretty spot. Like I feel like y'all was pretty spot on. Like in that explanation, I love what y'all did there. I love what y'all did there. Come on, V.
Can
What
I
we
add
got?
one little twist? One little twist.
Let's go.
All right, so I agree with what everyone said regarding self-esteem being more so how you feel about yourself. It could be in that given moment. It can fluctuate, like everyone said, but I just want to put a little twist on the self-worth piece, um, and think of it like self-worth is the value that you place on yourself that you hold other people accountable to how they treat you. Because I know my worth, I'm not gonna just put up with anything. I'm not going to allow myself to be, mistreated because I have worth in myself. And so that's kind of like the standard of how you allow yourself to be handled by other people.
Okay, that was really good. I wanted to hit with that question because although it's a huge one, it's the opening part. It kind of opens when it comes to like rejection. It's kind of like, who are you and what do you like? What's the type of person you are? So I'm glad we opened up with that one. But my second one that will follow up with that would be like, what's the danger of trying your worth to performance? And that goes with grades, sports, look wise. What's the dangers of trying to, I guess, appeal others instead of yourself?
You end up falling off track of yourself. You become somebody else. That will happen 9 times out of 10 once you start trying to please other people. You will lose yourself so fast because you're so caught up trying to do something else to please someone else. You're not thinking about you anymore. You're thinking about that person. This is no longer your self-worth. This is their self-worth in their eyes. This is no longer you. You must go back and think, what do I really want for myself? Not what they want for me. What do I want for myself? What are my goals for me? What are the things I want to do in the future? What they're doing, is that going to set me up for what I want to do in the future? Or is that setting me up for failure on what I want to do and what they want me to do? And that's really important.
They say that comparison is the thief of joy, right? So when you're trying to uh, assimilate to others, um, you pretty much voided your value. You lost your identity. You lost standing on your principles and your business. Um, and I say all of that to say that's normal. That's normal. What we have to remember, young people, as adults, we can say a lot of things, but never forget we was once 13 and 14 and 19 and 18. So we've been there, we've seen it, and I can speak from my lived experience at 12, 13, like I'm trying to look like everybody else. I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to, I'm trying to wear Adidas jacket like Run DMC. I'm trying to, be with the cool kids. You know what I'm saying? And then again, that all goes into your identity and your word association. Because if we try to define fitting in and what is cool, then it becomes your support system and what are they infusing you with? Because cool, in one sense, may be not so cool. Trying to be with the in crowd may necessarily not be the in crowd you want to be in with. So I think that's a great question because at the end, you have to use the word accountability about your own value system, your own worth system. And again, that's just me speaking from lived experience, young people, because I used to be 13. A long time ago, but I used to be 13.
Well, I would ask for that is what do you do to get yourself out of that? It's one thing with saying it, but you kind of have to do things in order to get out of it. Because some people's mindset isn't like, I can get out of it, I can get out of it. Sometimes they have to get into a routine. So, what do you guys suggest?
Well, see, young nephew said it earlier about, you just going in with the wrong, you getting along just to get along. Man, that is a great question because if we're talking to young people who are already in an environment where they're bombarded with impressions, whether it's overtly or covertly, trying to find who they are, and then are performing in a sense that they don't even know what the theater is. See, I got a little deep now, but I think that's where we need to go because see, when you have actors and they're performing, you need an understudy, a mentor, parent, grandparent, uncle, big sister, somebody to keep you saying, listen, man, is this, why are you hanging with them? Because if four of them are broke and you hanging with them, you the fifth broke person. Or if four of them got F's, you probably got an F too, right? So sometimes how do you get yourself out of that? You need some people around you who ain't yes men, because if they just telling you the things you want to hear in the echo chamber, you gonna stay in that rut for as long as you stay in that echo chamber. So sometimes that self-awareness needs to be affiliate or facilitated by someone who cares for you, who loves you. Just saying.
And I would
Yeah.
like to add to that with like the yes men. Like at the end, if something were to happen to you, they're probably the first ones to bounce. So you need people in your life that definitely have your best interest at heart. It might be difficult and you might think, oh, this person's being maybe a little bit too critical, but sometimes you need to hear the tough love. And even like sometimes like for me, for example, for me, my mom is my tough love person. She'll be like, hey, when you're hanging out with these people, you start cursing more, you start acting this sort of way. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I at first when I was younger, I would be like, oh man, my mom is crazy. She's tripping, right? But sometimes you need to hear that. You got to hear that tough love because what people want, they want the best for you. And the people who are yes men, they do not want the best for you. They want whatever they can get from you and then leave.
And then I think I would like to hear Lamar answer that question because see, I'm big on I can talk from when I was 13, 50 some years ago, but now nephew's in it right now. Nephew is in it right now. Like young bro, like how do you maybe you got some friends, some people that are your age, around that age, are struggling with this exact question. How do they handle it, young man?
Look, you already know I was coming back on here, but I honestly say this: you are not that old, sir. You are not that old, sir. But back to the question. Um, with this, we got to think about them yes men, right? Everybody wants to be a yes man nowadays because they're trying to get what was popular. They seeing all the things on the TikTok and what's happening around them, all these Nike ticks and all that, right? They don't want that best interest. They want what they can get from you. They trying to extort you for something and then leave at the best moment where you're at your lowest. They have gotten everything they wanted from you. They don't see any more value in keeping you around, and they about to bounce. They leaving. But let's think about that, because how do you detach yourself from those people that want something from you and not don't want you for you? Because there's a big difference. You can see it, like if you just look between the lines. I promise you that. Would you find that person that wants to hang out with you for you and not what you bring to the table? It will make a big difference. So look for that and look for those signs. Like try to walk away for a little bit and detach yourself from your main group that is clearly feeding you unhealthy energy. Give yourself your own positive energy. Soak yourself in your own energy away from them feeding that negativity, and just see the difference.
I love that, Abby. As a teen, like young lady, like what are some of the things that you see, and how do you feel like you would respond to that?
I feel like, I mean, I've definitely dealt with it like myself, especially last year. I like went to a new school and I went to like a public school and I've never been like to a public school my whole entire life. So there was like a lot of more people and obviously a lot more like different kinds of people. And I think like the people that I met, like they were just the wrong kind of group. And even my parents were like Dana said, like they were like that's not who you are, you know what I mean? And I was just like seeing myself like that's not who I really am. So I just had to like get away from them. And I feel like you can kind of tell because they just start like telling you like it's kind of obvious like when they want things from you and just stuff like that. And then they won't do anything in return. Like it's kind of just like a one-sided thing. So I think like that's really important. And also you can't like lose who you are. So yeah.
And V,
I
I saw you.
agree.
V, I saw you unmute like two people ago, so I ain't forget about you. I saw you, sir. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. It is enticing, that attention can be very enticing. And especially for, 13, 14, 15-year old, it's like your mind, you're still developing. All of those things you're still developing. And it can be very difficult when you do have people in your life that, like a parent, like a grandparent, like a auntie or uncle, like a mentor that's trying to, pour into you because they know your value. See, the thing is, your friends really don't know your value. Like the young lady just said, they might see you for what you can provide for them, whether that's hanging out with you makes them look cooler, or maybe you're, doing other things for them that they can't get other places, but they don't really know your value like a parent or, a mentor or somebody that really doesn't have an ulterior motive. So it's important, we got two different kind of people in the world, people that learn by observation and taking information in, or people that learn by experience. And us as parents, and mentors, we want our young people to learn from observation, from listening to wise advice. But some of your folks need to learn by experience. But you're gonna learn one way or the other. That's the thing about it. There's no getting through life without learning, how to make those choices and recognize who you are. Um, it's better to listen to somebody who knows who you are from their perspective, of a caring and trusted person. Just like the young lady said, when I'm hanging around certain people, I'm acting a different way, and my mom is trying to tell me, but I'm like, Mom is crazy. But mom can tell you that because the relationship is there. And no matter what, mom has your back. And sometimes that can get even clouded with our young people, can be a little rebellious and things like that. But, me as a dad, I know that, there's been plenty of times when, I might see one of my girls going kind of leaning the wrong way. and we'll have a conversation about it. And at first, they might not receive it, but sure as the sun comes up, they will come back to me and say, "Dad, you were right." And so you got to trust, and us as parents, we got to trust that what we're putting in is getting in there. No plant grows just on its own. A plant has to be watered, it has to be nurtured. And sometimes, when you first plant something, it doesn't always look like anything's happening. It can look like nothing is happening for weeks. But then all of a sudden you start to see something sprout and bud and start to grow. And so that's the part that we want to see as parents, mentors, what have you, is that all the things that we put in start to take effect and start to feed that person who you really are as a teen, as a young person. Because we like my brother Smitty said, we've been there. It might have been, ages ago, but we all been there. So, we have a little bit of knowledge on, getting through this time in your life. And I just appreciate even just this whole conversation is really great. So that's my little 2 cents on that part.
Give yourself that dollar.
Right. I was about to say, let's just fill this up. We about to
See?
that gold. Might as well just get the gold. I
Mhm.
really love this because I'm seeing all perspectives from all ages, like how you guys learn from it, how you guys are seeing it. This is so amazing. I would say for myself, I'm only 21, so I was like, I'm right in the middle with y'all. And I would say, like, I always heard the saying, like, I've been in your shoes, I've been 13, hard head, soft behind, you're gonna learn. And I never understood the sayings, but I would say that sometimes blatant honesty is the best advice. It hurts, but it's the best advice because nobody's going to tell you like your mentor. They all want the best from you. I didn't really have much friends that would tell me the best advice because I would be like, girl, your mama told you the same thing she told me. But nevertheless, I think hearing advice from your mentors is the best thing to do because no matter what, you're going to learn. Take it from me. I am 21. I do not want to be an adult. I do not. Being an adult is hard. I don't want to pay the bills. I don't want to be around the people, but I love this. I really do. We in the same boat. Okay, the second question would be, how does social media affect how teens see themselves? I think this one is a really good one because social media is very prevalent and you can only do so much when your kids are at school or with their friends. So,
Well, if you want to take it from someone who kind of grew up around the time when social media kind of started taking off, my first experience with social media was MySpace. So that was forever a time ago, just to carbon date myself. But throughout that rise of social media, there have been benefits and obviously like unfortunate downsides as well to social media. The comparison to yourself, like to like a person to other people, became more prevalent, and it's hard to navigate because it's a very new social dynamic, and like for us as human beings, right? We weren't like before we would understand the news, before that, the telegram, before that, the Pony Express, but we weren't used to, psychologically speaking, be used to having knowing more than 150 people. Now, if you go to your following, you probably follow about 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, and that's not including what you get from the news. So it's just like that impact, seeing it going from the slow internet to the what we have now, it's just a huge different thing. So like I want to see like how, for people who are in an older generation, how do you see it? And also for the people who are in the younger generation, what is your experience with social media as well? Like just to see the two different perspectives. Me, I'm the transitional period, but I want to see the before and after answers, or hear the before and after answers.
I don't mind talking on that one. Because like you said, being older, I kind of bridged to where we didn't have any social media. Like, thank God we didn't have social media when I was growing up. To the MySpace era and all of that. And getting into Facebook and Instagram and all these different things. It's interesting. I watched a documentary on Netflix not too long ago where it had some of the developers of Facebook and Instagram talking about how they design these platforms and how they don't allow their children to use it, um, because they're designed to addict us. It's designed to be addictive, the likes and the shares and all of that stuff and the status. And now you see certain people will just go viral and just blow up. And it's like, for instance, the young lady who did the jingle for Dr. Pepper. You see that, and all of a sudden she's a millionaire and she's got a commercial going on during the national championship football game, and it's like now everybody's doing jingles thinking, okay, I'm gonna hit in that way. And it's just like a follow the crowd mentality on steroids. It's like if anybody does anything that mildly looks successful, then you get millions of people that just instantly want to copy it. And like you said, it's so fast now. If I walked outside right now and tripped on a curb and fell, and my neighbor was recording me across the street and posted that video, by the time I got back in my house and turned my computer on, thousands of people will be laughing at me falling on the ground because it's that fast, So it can be very, very scary. But I will say, the thing about social media is you have to stay grounded. It is a legitimate way to get information across. It's a legitimate way to create wealth and income for yourself, but you gotta stay grounded. We gotta understand that quote unquote friends on Facebook, they're not your friends. For the most part, we don't know these people. They don't care about you as a person. They care about what content you might be posting on a regular basis. They may care about, how you make them feel when they watch your videos. But, we have to stay grounded in our circle, because the danger is to really put your feelings behind social media to the point where you get your worth, from that, or you get your self-esteem from that. Because one day, you could be hot, the next day you could be not. So, you got to know who you are for yourself, and don't get too carried away with the social media because that your work doesn't come from that. Even though it was designed to create that comparison, you got to remember you're seeing people on their best day in their best circumstance with the best filter on, the edited videos. When this is not real life, and if we can keep that in mind, then social media is cool. But the problem is a lot of times, people have a really difficult time separating that, from, reality.
Now let's talk about this after. Because this after is way worse. And I'll tell you, Uncle V, you hit that right on the head. But I'm going to expand on that to say it's quicker than you think. One day there's a trend about people putting stuff in toilets, and then the next day that trend is gone, and now we eating chocolate. Like, it's so fast, and it makes no sense because I'll even say this: forget the crowd mentality, right? One person does a stupid thing, it goes viral, and now everybody's doing the most wild and unintelligent decisions to go try to have that attention and go viral. Like, I'll even give you an example. In 2020, there were people trying to get COVID. That was an actual TikTok trend. They were licking toilets. So, look, these, like, the youth are seeing these things on social media and they're copying it just so they can have some type of attention. And now, let's go to the relationships because half the people they following, right? They don't even know. They have no idea who these people are. I bet they can't even name half the people on there. You know why? Because they follow so many people and they are associating with so many people, right? And you're right. Social media is meant to be addictive. It is meant for you to stay on there all day and all night, consuming, consuming, consuming. But then at the same time, what are you doing while you're consuming? Nothing. And that's part of that self-worth. You gotta try to get something done. Because if your self-worth is social media, once that internet shuts off, what you gonna do? Once when Spectrum does their routine, oh yeah, we're going to fix the internet cable around your neighborhood, and now nobody got no internet, no power, no lights, no nothing. What you gonna do?
So, you know, I'm gonna talk from the older generation perspective, but I do want to make a point because I think it's the basis of your question is how social media affecting young people. Coming from a gentleman, uh, when I was in school, social media didn't exist. So word got out, oh, y'all about to fight? We didn't put the fight on the schedule until about 10 o'clock. But by the time 3 o'clock rolled around, best believe the whole school was there. So again, without social media, things were still there. Um, yes, we went from a snail oriented delivery process to a really hyperactive transitory time when it comes to information. With all of that said, to answer your question specifically, the in social media has perfectly worked in whatever algorithm you want to call it to affect humans' basic need of being included. Since the beginning of time, humans by nature are innate. That means we want to be in community with other people. If you look over the course of history and man itself and how we form communities, and then here comes cliques, right? Think about initiations. Think about initiations, and we're talking, tribal, spiritual, in community, what have you, right? Think about hazing in college. Think about hazing in the military. Think about being in first grade and wanting to be in community with the other first graders. And if there's three first graders and they're sharing one ball, two of those first graders are not going to feel included if they don't have that ball. I think social media has went to the epicenter of the human existence of wanting to be included. That entails now, not only do I want to be included in this particular group, I want to be included in the entire world. So I'm going to start following all of these different people, like nephew said, who you don't know, but the vehicle is there to allow young people who again are already struggling with identity to say, oh, okay, I want to be included in all of this. If I throw 10 darts at the wall, one of them got to stick. And then that's, to me, sis, that was an awesome question. It's a very deep question, and I go on forever, but I don't want to. But I thought that was imperative because in humans, we just want to be in community. We're intimate creatures. And now social media has taken that and forced it almost in our hands to, do you want to be a part of this? Yes or no? And that's why of the what 7 billion humans on this earth, 5 billion have phones because we want to be included. That's what the impact of social media has had on young people.
Yeah, and just to add something onto that, I just feel like it's also added so much anxiety in so many different ways, especially to the younger generation, even to the older generation in terms of body image or what's cool. Because now it's not just about like going to school anymore and looking at like who has these sneakers or who has this type of clothing. It's like social media reinforcing these, you know, social and cultural norms. And so I think the effect is huge. And even, I'm 20, I see a lot of my peers and my friends even now taking breaks on social media because the influx of people that you see, it's like, it's human nature in a way to compare yourself and, look at the other person. And again, that does tie back in with trying your best to, have as much self esteem and like self worth as possible. So those things don't happen. And now even with the like social media and the rise of AI, which is like a whole different section, but it's even with the older generation, they don't even want to use their phones anymore because it's like what's a scam? What's not a scam? What's real? What like even my school email is getting scammed, right? Like sending me scams about jobs and stuff. And so it's crazy. But yeah.
And like just to bring it back to like the whole entire yes men perspective, the internet and social media in general have created like an army of yes men, but they hide behind like avatars. So you're trying to people please all these people who like even back then, if we had yes men, it was like, okay, they kind of know you, they kind of know you from the neighborhood, from the school. But now these are people who are probably countries, thousands of miles away, who you don't know them, they don't know you, and you're still trying to please these people. And that's how like a part of that addiction becomes a problem because you're like, oh, I want to make sure that username 123, I want to get their likes, I want to get their likes, I want to get their comments, I want that engagement because I want to make sure I'm positive in the algorithm, right? So it's like I feel like with teenagers, they should learn like not only boundaries in social media, but also the boundaries in real life because I don't know. It's the Wild West, but in the cyberspace.
I agree. I love boundaries. I'm a boundary queen. I can add for everyone had some things that I wanted to say, but one thing that I really want to get into is the influence that it does on us. There is a lot of dangerous people on social media, and they can attack you or they can make you feel like you're this awesome person just to get something for themselves. And I feel like a lot of people don't recognize like this is a predator trying to come for you, whether it's your money, whether it's your body, whatever it is. They don't look at it like that because we're so influenced by social media. We're so influenced by relationships. Why does a 12-year-old have such a high expectation for a 12-year-old to have this much money or to have this much status? It doesn't click. Or when it comes to like being a clean girl or having a certain aesthetic, you don't need to have that right now. You just need to go outside and play, or you just need to go be with your family. um I think that's something that's just so stuck on us that we're trying to fit this image that we're not. And it's okay to be authentically yourself, whether it's weird, quirky, clean, out there. It doesn't really matter. But I like how each and every one of you said something on different ages because it all falls back to one thing that it's a yes man, no matter what. I was in the, I guess, era of all of it being open, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all that, even Kick. So I understand of the dangers of it. I understand how it can cause a lot of anxiety, depression, even eating disorders. All of that comes with social media. So it's good to take a social media break. Doesn't matter. It's good to take one. Okay, so
Could I add something to it?
of course.
So I agree, but then I'm going to switch it and disagree with everyone. And the why behind it is because even growing up, we had those cousins that we were influenced by, and social media wasn't around. We had people that were bulimic, and I could be saying that wrong. We had a lot of negative influence, right? Now, yes, social media does have a negative impact, but you can actually be authentically yourself. I've seen those that are overweight have a community simply for them. I've seen those that want to be beautiful and just dress doll up. They have a community. There's so many different communities in social media where you don't have to be bullied, you can really be your authentic self. The thing that I would say that has been taken away, and I know someone used the young lady with the jingle, and now we see everyone doing the jingle. And this is, and nothing changed, just technology. What I mean by that is back then we saw the neighborhood baller, but we didn't see the neighborhood, when I say baller, basketball player that was a man everyone loved. He was very skilled, but we didn't see him at 12 midnight putting up 100 shots. No one actually sat around and realized the girl with the jingle did probably a million different jingles and just had one hit. We look at these people and then we jump and want to be them. That didn't change. We've all been there before technology and now. But technology did open up a door where, yes, we have the world looking at us, but we can take a brand and turn that brand into millions of dollars by being our authentic self. We just have more of a market. The marketing of social media really changed the game. And I'm saying that because I know what it did for me. And when I'm going to these schools, I hear what you guys are saying from some of them, but I'm also hearing the other side. So there's two sides to it. That's why I kind of wanted to come on, because I didn't want to just lean on one side when social media can be oh so beautiful.
That's true. I like that. Thank you for adding that because there is a beautiful side to it. I agree. I am in marketing, so I know all the good tricks about it. Okay, the last one. Now, this one is a really big thinker. So think real quick. What is one piece of advice that you give your younger self about value? Now, I know my younger folks, I know we're young, so it's like, I was just 3 a decade ago. But just think about it. Just think about it.
I can go many different ways because I was so unhinged as a young man. Um, but if I had to tell, and that's an awesome question because we had to do this for exercise for my son when he was in high school, and I had to do something about when I was 12. And what would I speak to myself? What words would I influence myself with about my value? My value isn't predicated on others' perceptions of me, whether that's whether that's physical, whether that's emotional, whether that's financial, socioeconomical, whatever. My value is intrinsic. And as human beings, especially as a young Black man, we are not monolithic. We don't fit one cookie cutter stereotype. We are most excellent in every single individual way. Valiant, loving, caring, nurturing, and present. That's what I would say my value is to my 12-year-old self.
Now, I would say this to my 6-year-old self when I was struggling. Don't let anybody take away your passion and your joy, because that was a real issue, especially for what I was going through being so young. Because your value will never be what they said, it will be what you said. Don't let anybody change your value, because as Uncle Smith said, your value is stagnant. It will not change. It's how you perceive your value that changes. And that's that self-esteem. So don't let anybody take away your passion or joy.
I think for me, I would say, like, just don't be someone you're not, because, like, especially when I was little, I would always, like, try to fit in with the people that I meet, the friendships that I make, and, like, it just wasn't good for me, obviously. And so I think I would just tell myself to just be yourself, and, like, the right people for you will find you.
I think for me, it would be like it's okay to take your time because being so young, I think I was hard on myself, and I think a lot of us were, especially like high school and the transition from, high school to college and having to let go and mature. I think that I wanted to be authentically myself while also making other people proud. And so I think just knowing that certain things can't be rushed and it's okay to take your time and it's about getting back up again and your value doesn't diminish because of certain setbacks or obstacles. Yeah.
I guess for me, it would be because when I was younger, I was very much so into people pleasing. Like, I needed to make sure everyone liked me, everyone was happy. I needed that, right? So, in life, not everyone's going to like you. They're going to find whatever XYZ reason not to like you. And that's okay. That's their prerogative, that's their business. But at the same time, you're going to have to also put boundaries for yourself. And that is probably the most self-respecting thing that I probably have ever done in my life, that I can just be okay that somebody may not like me as long as we're respectable out here, that's okay. And so always put boundaries. Not everyone needs to be all up in your business, know everything about you, be like in you, around you. That's just set boundaries. That's healthy for you and also healthy for the other party.
Wow, I am getting emotional. Um, okay, I don't even know what to say. I would tell myself, my younger self to be honest, um, being around bullying and self-identity issues and people pleasing and anxiety. I would tell my younger self to be honest with my friends, my family, with myself, with everyone, because honesty really does get you a long way and it encourages others. So if you want to not be a follower, you got to step it up and be a leader. Oh gosh, you guys are making me so emotional.
This was dope. Come on, V. Come on.
All right. I guess so. When I was middle school, high school, mostly middle school, I think I went through a lot of issues with my self-esteem and my self-worth, because I allowed people to treat me in ways that didn't match who I am. And I found it very difficult to fit in. And so I kind of tried to be fluid. I try to be this way with this group of people, this way with that group of people. And all the while I was neglecting myself. So I would definitely tell myself, if I could go back in time, to uh, be true to yourself. Don't try to conform to different people's expectations, or change your personality, or be different around different people. Just be the same. It took me a long time to learn that, because you can do all that, twist yourself in all kind of different ways, like you're a contortionist. But at the end of the day, those people really don't care. So it's not even worth it at the end of the day. So I would tell myself, go back, be honest with yourself, like the young lady said, be true to yourself, and also don't hold it inside. I held everything inside. So find someone that you can talk to. Um, and for me, like with my parents being in ministry, my dad was a pastor, we were always in church and things like that. But that came with a level of an expectation that everything was good with me all the time. And so that was like extra pressure. And so I didn't talk to my parents about a lot of different things that I was going through. But when I got a little older, I had an uncle that I could talk to about anything. And I mean, this was when I was like 18, 19. I would go over his house and we would just talk. And so I wish I had had that 6 or 7 years earlier, somebody that I could talk to. But find somebody that you can talk to. Don't hold it inside. It's not healthy. And be true to yourself.
I would add to it just two things I would tell my younger self, my 12-year-old self. One, I was always a person that always saw good in people, so I wanted to help. So number one, I would say, you can't or stop pouring into people with empty or holes in their pots. So stop pouring into people with holes in their pots because you're going to drain yourself. The next one was because I was doing that, I wasn't pouring into myself. So the value I had only went so far as I grew. And as you grow as an adult, you need to pour into yourself to bring more value. I was limiting myself or I stopped at a certain point. So what I would tell myself is be around people that can pour into you so that you can add value to yourself. Um, don't always, and I think we said it a few weeks ago, don't always be the smartest in a room or the only one that's pouring in a room. Get around like-minded individuals. So those two things, stop pouring into pots that got holes in them and find those that are willing to pour into you as well.
Y'all better come on now. Look, I had to be reminded that we was at the platinum level and to throw them diamonds up in the plate, okay? Because y'all done came and wrapped it all up. The only thing I would say for me and my younger self is understanding the value of letting things go. So, V, a lot of what you said resonated with me too. And then also understanding that I should have valued my time. I think I poured a lot into things that were not serving where I wanted to be and where I wanted to grow into, and instead allowing other things to be a distraction. And so, valuing time and valuing the power of letting go would have been so instrumental and so much better for me had I learned to do that at a younger age. And so, yes, that is what I would tell my younger self, y'all. Look, who y'all did that. Dana, I'm gonna toss it to you so you can wrap us up, girl. Look, y'all done did something with today's show.
So, I am so sorry. The outro for it is for February, correct?
Yes, but you're introducing YPA right now.
Oh, I am. All right. So before we wrap out today's conversation, we want to shift from talking about growth to seeing it in action. This month's theme is all about rejection, how it shapes us, challenges us, and teaches us how to move forward with confidence. And our youth program ambassadors are taking that message one step further by connecting it to real life relationships and real life choices. So now we're passing on the mic to one of our youth program ambassadors to share what they've been working on and how you can get involved.
Look, hey everybody, it's Lamar Allen. I'm a youth program ambassador with Steps Foundation. Let's talk real quick. Rejection can hit hard, especially when it comes from people we care about. Whether it's a breakup, being ignored, or realizing someone isn't treating you right, rejection can make you question your worth. But here's the truth. Rejection is not the same as disrespect. And love should never make you feel afraid, controlled, or less than. That's why February matters so much. It's Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and our advocacy initiative is all about helping teens recognize the difference between healthy love and harmful behavior. And we doing it in a way that's actually fun. Jeopardy in the Name of Love is happening on Sunday, February 22nd from 1 to 3 p.m. at Hart Memorial Library. Join us for a fun, interactive Jeopardy-style experience where teens and families will learn about healthy relationships, red flags, and real love, plus prizes and powerful conversations you won't want to miss. Knowing when to walk away isn't failure, it's strength. And and if you're looking to grow even more this month, here's what else is coming up. On Saturday, February 7th at 12 p.m. Actually, oh no, never mind. We did that. Okay. Wednesday, February 18th at 6 p.m., mock interviews, part of our Survival Spark series. Practice real interview skills with feedback to help you feel confident and prepared for future opportunities. Get your jobs. Saturday, February 21st, 12 p.m. virtual QPR training. Same life-saving skills, just online. Perfect if you can attend the in-person one. And Saturday, February 28th at 9:30 a.m., Youth Mental Health First Aid Certification. This training teaches you how to support young people in a mental health crisis and includes a 3-year certification. February is about growth, confidence, and knowing your worth, and we want you a part of it. You can register for events at www.stepsfoundation.org/events and follow us on social media.
Rejection can feel personal, painful, and even paralyzing, but it doesn't get the final say. What does? Resilience, self-worth, and growth. This month, we're learning we're leaning into the hard stuff. We're talking about the sting of rejection, the importance of knowing your worth, and how every no can lead to a greater yes. It is important that we remind ourselves that setbacks are set-ups for something stronger, and that how we bounce back says more about us than any obstacle we face. So as you move forward, remember, you are not your missed opportunities. You are not your lowest moment. You are your resilience, your purpose, your next brave step. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and most of all, keep showing up for yourself with grace, confidence, and courage. Now to close out, I'm Dana Ortega, and it's been an honor wrapping up this powerful conversation with you. Thank you for being a part of Talk Tuesday this month. Remember, the power of positivity is always within you. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, stay true to yourself, stay inspired, stay empowered, and keep leading the way. Bye.